can I get a grant? They're not really pressing me for grants. Um, you know, what they will say is like, if I have like 50 conference presentations and 2 publications, they're going to be like, that's a way off balance. So one thing you always want to try to do too is have that conference publication balance to be a kind of on par. Obviously you'll do more conferences than you'll probably have publications, at least in the beginning parts of your career, but they'll want to see that because the publication is the follow through. So if like, you know what I mean? So if like fall 2020, you go to a conference, Latin X, admin, urban education, whatever that's the title, by, fall of 2022, there better be a paper with a similar title. You know what I'm saying? So they see there's follow through. Like within 2 years, that went from a working paper to a polished paper. And that's how I use conferences. Sometimes people like to go to conferences with stuff that's already published. But my thing is like, if that shit's already published, why do I want to hear criticism about it? I want to hear criticism to make the paper stronger. You know what I'm saying? And get feedback from peers to say, oh, have you looked at such and such's work? Or, did you think about it in this way? Because then that makes the paper a bit stronger versus, this paper, didn't cite this. I'm like, well, it's already published, so I don't give a shit what you think. You know what I mean? Yeah, I mean, once things are published, I don't give a shit what they say. They have to take that up with the editors, not with me anymore.
Yeah.
You know
now,
what I mean?
are you tenured? Or are you still working towards tenure?
I'm tenure tracked, so I'm still working towards tenure.
Okay.
So there was possibility that I could go up for early tenure, but in talking with my chair, I probably won't. And now with this, I definitely won't, because I could lose certain privileges. Like, so all those course releases, they might be like, oh, well, if you go for early tenure, you just lose that because that's for tenure track people. You know what I'm saying? Like, they might be like, well, you don't need these anymore because they're for junior faculty. Once you become an associate professor or tenured, you're no longer considered junior faculty. And they make you do a fuck ton more service work, which I was already doing a bunch of because, when you're the only black male, everybody wants you on their committee, like to the point where literally the dean had to intervene, which is kind of crazy, right? Because the dean was like, literally said in front of me and my chair in the same breath, he was like, Calvin, you're not allowed to do anything else. You're not allowed to do anything else for anybody else. But there's this great committee. So it was like, you can't do nothing for nobody else except for like me, which is kind of funny. But like this semester, I wasn't allowed to do shit. Like they asked me last semester because, this year is the centennial of women getting the right to vote, 1920 to 2020. So the women in gender studies at Hunter put together this huge conference in the beginning of March about this. They was like, Calvin, will you be like a guest speaker at this? And I was like, well, that's great and all. And I had a conflict at a wedding, so I couldn't do it. But I was like, bro, like if you were to look at, like, I talk about gender, but my shit is not like women centric,
right?
But when I started looking at who was putting the program here, it was all white women. That's what Hunter had. So they was just scraping through looking for bodies of color.
Black representation, right? Or bodies of color,
like,
right?
And I know for a fact that Hunter is on this big kick to get black people. So, like, if there was a job to be there and you apply, like, you would definitely go to the top of the list, barring nothing else. Like, as long as you don't say, like,
bro,
I just have, like, an associate to be like, you have all the credentials, and if you get something on a review, I'm telling you, just off the strength of being a black male, and putting that in your, as a black male educator, right? Your shit's going to the top of the list. Now, you might be competing against a dude who's from Harvard, Stanford, CUNY, everything, but I know that's insider knowledge. I know about Hunter right now, that Hunter is on this big kick because how do you say you're an urban public school that serves a majority minority students, and the majority of your faculty are white folks? It don't look good, and you can't be like out here talking about multiculturalism, diversity, and just keep hiring white women. You know what I mean? Because as we all know, diversity has historically meant hiring white women. Well, they've done that. They're saturated, right? Like, so I know for a fact, again, insider knowledge, that the job I got at Hunter when I reapplied, the chair at the time was like to the committee, if they're not black, I don't want to see their resume. Because the previous application process, when I didn't even hear back, they hired 2 people. They've hired both of them were white women. And they were just like, bro, how do you how do you just, there's no one else. So I know for a fact that of the 4 people that they brought to campus, me being one of them, it was 3 black men and 1 black woman. Yeah. And then it came down to me and the black woman, and the black woman took a job at Rutgers. You might actually, do you know her? She's a sociologist, black woman, does stuff on like Afro-Colombian shit. Can't tell if you know her. If you ever meet her, you can't tell her that I know this. That's got to be like between us. But I just know.
I don't know her. Yeah.
Between whatever.
So you
she might be one of these Facebook groups or whatever. And you go, she's at Rutgers. I know my boy Calvin. He was.
My Calvin, he beat that ass.
I know that it came down between me and her. And I know that the department was split because, again, she checked off even more boxes. Black, woman, spoke another language.
Yeah, like woman, that's like, like you're inferior. It's like check.
The only other thing that, beats is you got like, accessibility issue, right? You're on crutches or some shit. That would be the only thing, now. But then she took the job at Rutgers and made the Hunter committee, like, it made it easy for them. Like, she was like, yeah, I'm taking it. And why wouldn't you? R1 versus, Hunter, shit like that. And her work is dope. Like, when I found out that I was competing against her, I was like, oh, fuck, she got top shit. She knows her stuff. But, so again, that's one of the advantages right now, you know what I mean? In terms of this, especially doing urban ed, like especially putting that forward, they're going to want to see men of color, particularly black men, underrepresented in all these fields, blah, blah, blah.
Well, yeah. So like, the thing is like, I don't consider myself smart. I think I'm a good navigator. Like, you know what I'm saying? So I need to get in on that curtail and then use people like you to say, what do I need to do? And then like rise to that level. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think my skill is navigation. It's not book smart. It's not like I look at a book and I'm like, you know what I mean? But I'm a navigator. Like, if you tell me do X, Y, and Z, like you got to do 50 push-ups, I'm going to work out once a week or, however many times so I can get to that 50 push-up mark. You know what I'm saying? That's my skill. Not like just some bookworm who is like, I'm going to just kill it.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I mean, I've even stopped faking it now. Like, I used to fake it when people are like, do you know of like such and such work? Like, oh, yeah. Now I'm just like, no, I have no idea who that is. Like, I don't even lie anymore. Because, I used to feel intimidated in that same way. Like that book thing, like you have to feel like, oh, you need to know, like, why don't I know this person? And she's like, nah, I don't know who that is. And then, maybe I look it up and like, oh, yeah, I did actually know that person's work, but I don't have that shit memorized in the back of my head, to just pull it out like a Rolodex. But, now I just be like, nah, I don't know who is that? Because sometimes what I've also found, too, is motherfuckers be dropping names, and then if you call them out on it, like, oh, who is that? They go start going up and up and up.
Oh.
Yeah. I found that, too. So, you just got to learn how to, like, navigate the system, and that's really what it's about. And that's why I say, and you give the right, like, you do what they want for the teaching part of it. That's it. You don't go above and beyond, because at the end of the day, no one gets tenure. Now, if you go to a community college, that's a different experience, right? Because community colleges historically, their focus, the primary focus is to move students into 4-year colleges, right? As a kind of way. So there, if you went to a community college to get tenure, the focus might actually be on your teaching pedagogy.
Right.
But at a 4-year school, particularly that wants to see itself as a research institution or that has people who are doing research, that's got to be the main focus. So, new courses, try to limit that. You never want to, you shouldn't be doing new preps every semester, right? Try to, like, if the teaching load, like I said, is a 3-3, try to have 2 of the same prep, and then you're only basically having to do 2 preps a semester as opposed to 3. You got to know yourself in terms of when's best for you teaching. Like, I typically teach afternoon, evening. And I think for me, it's just the demographic of students that I get. I like them more because usually the earlier in the day, you get the more traditional 18 to 22. But in the afternoon, evening, you get the non-traditional population of students because they're working all day or taking care of their kids or whatever the case might be. So, and then, writing around that and whatever service work you have to do, yeah, that's really about it.
Yeah.
But focus, your goal is to get this, to teach something, and I can work with you on that, like in terms of you have ideas, you want to throw an abstract together and stuff like that, or if you, start looking up journals, and, what I used to start doing is, Google journals, Google, peer-reviewed urban education journals, peer-reviewed journals on education and Latino studies, peer-reviewed journals for admin of education, just start Googling and see what comes up. You know, and then looking how many times are they publishing? What's their impact factor? You know, what is the hoops and hurdles that I have to fucking go through to get this, right? Is it like a portal and all you have to do is set up a portal and you can submit it versus like you got to sign up for 18 things? Because I found that too. And never pay.
Never.
You got to be careful. Now, there's a difference between, there's predatory journals. They'll be like, you pay us $200 and we publish it. Don't ever do those. Stay away from those. There might be journals that are peer reviewed that make you pay like a submission fee. I would say right now, stay away from those. You know, once you have a tenure track job, you can do those, because then you can use like startup funds or grant funding from the school to pay for those. Right now, don't do that. Anything you have to pay, don't do it. Everything should be free for you.
Okay.
Yeah. The one time I submitted to one of those, I was in grad school, and my co-author, she paid for it, because she already had a tenure track job. You know what I mean? She paid for grant money. And then we didn't get in, so fuck that. You know what I mean? So it's like, you know, we paid for nothing. So yeah, that's what I would say.
Yeah. Dude, thank you, man. Like I said, I appreciate this, bro, so much, man. I learned so much from like other people, and then I'm like, I can do that. Just hearing you say X, Y, and Z, I got this list. You know, I'm gonna start working on this stuff. I just want to use this time wisely. I'm like, I got this time off. I got my son, but he takes 2 naps, and then when my wife comes home, I just fucking pass him off, and I'm like, I do my shit. So like, yeah, man. I just want to use this time. I really want to set myself up a year from now. I'm done with K-12, bro.
Yeah. So if you're looking at fall 2021 as being in a college setting, then this summer you got to start putting that package together. Like your goal for that is to put like a package together of what you'd be doing for like a job application, and writing one solid publishable piece and having it under review by early September. So that way on your resume, you have, you know, Cox/Tristan, the title of it, under review at, and then it lists journals. So they at least see that you're publishing.
Cool.
Or at least you're on that process of publishing, you know, because that might be because if someone, sets up an interview with you, they'll probably ask you, like, can you tell us about that publication? And you want to be able to talk about it versus you don't have anything there. Now they don't have anything to ask you. You know what I'm saying?
Got it.
Yeah.
All right, bro. Thanks, man. I'm going to get off and wrangle this kid, bro. I really appreciate your time, man.
No worries. And then look out in the next week or so. Definitely one guy, this guy, John, he owes me a favor because I worked with his grad student on some shit. So he owes me a favor to talk to somebody. And then this other person, I have to look up her name and everything. But these are 2 people who are in urban ed or in education at Hunter that I'll introduce you to and, you know, see if they have any advice or anything like that.
Cool. Definitely. All right, man, bro. Thanks. See you soon. Peace.
See, talk to you later.
Peace.
Bye.
Is that Benjamin?